Year 4. Last week we started doing some drawings in our art diaries that were based on you. So I started by asking you to write a list of 10 things about you, things that are important to you that you and your family value. So some of you picked things like prayer and your religion. Some people picked things like their family or sport or their favorite things at school. It was a list of 10. So it was a lot of things. We then started thinking about narrowing it down to sort of our 3 things that we thought we could work with at the most. And I asked you to do some drawings to represent those pictures. Now, without you even realizing, what I was actually asking you to do was to create a symbol. So I asked you to think of a simple drawing, no words, no people, that represented that thing you were talking about. So if you were talking about prayer, some of you drew a prayer mat, which is a great, beautiful little drawing. Some of you did an AFL ball to represent your love of footy and playing footy and watching footy. Some of you did a calculator to represent that maths was your favorite subject. All without you even realizing you made these little symbols. So think back last year to when we looked at First Nations and Indigenous artwork and how we talked about symbols. They were always a really simple drawing that had meaning. And that's exactly what you created last week as well. Today, instead of continuing on with that path of drawing symbols, what I actually want you to do today is I want you to find some symbols. So all throughout your house, there are symbols everywhere, whether it be the on-off symbol on your remote, whether or not it be the washing instructions on your clothes, or even on your containers and plates. There are symbols everywhere in our house. And what I want you to try and do today is find 3. Now, before you start running around going crazy in your house, please double check with mum and dad that it is okay for you to grab some of these things to draw. You're not going to be rubbing or drawing anything on them. You're just going to have a look at some of these symbols and draw them. So to start off with, I want you to see if you can find 3 symbols on objects around your house. I've got a printer behind me. I'm sure that's got symbols on it as well. They are literally everywhere. So see if you can find a small, simple picture that has meaning and is a symbol. 3 of them to start off with. And I want you to pop them on a piece of paper just along the top. Only 3. Pretty easy to start off with. All right, good luck going to find your symbols. And then we've got something else to do. All right, I've gone on my adventure. I've found my symbols, and I've actually ended up with 4 because I feel like 2 kind of go together, but you only needed to find 3, and then draw them on your piece of paper just at the top. I'll show you what I've done in just a second. But here are my symbols. So on my car key, you can see I've got the little lock symbol. So that means that when I press it, it locks the car. It doesn't say that anywhere. We just know that that's what that little symbol means. Then on my remote, I've chosen, it's a bit hard to see, the mute button, which is the loudspeaker with the cross through it. So that we know that means mute. We don't even use loudspeakers like that anymore, but we still know that means mute. And on my headphones, I've got a plus and a minus symbol, which without even thinking about it, we know means volume up for the plus, volume down for the minus. Now, on the top of my page, I've done my 4 symbols. Now here's where things get interesting, okay? What I want you to try and do is turn these 4 symbols into one drawing, okay? So you're gonna have to try and smush these symbols together to make one artwork. You might have symbols that you could turn into a person or a car or a dog or whatever. I've got to have a think about what I can turn these symbols into, and I'll be back once I've done it. Okay, so I've made my weird symbol drawing. Now this drawing is always going to be weird. You're using something that is a bit strange to make something else. It's always going to be a little bit weird. So down the bottom here, I've used my plus symbols to make a little pattern. I've used my little minus volume symbols for her shoelaces. Then, this is my crowning glory. This was clever. My lock is her head and a cool little cap that she's got on. And my mute button I've turned into her dress. So that's the little sound coming out, the big cross through the middle, and I've turned it into her dress. So you can use more symbols if you want, and you can repeat the same symbol a couple of times if you want to. Or you can just try and use the 3 ones. But if you've got 5 symbols that you think you can put all together, then go for it. There are simple little symbols everywhere in a house. If you can't find 3 in your house, think about ones that you see outside. Think about signs when people are driving or walking across the street. Think about, I don't know what else. It'll come to me. Heaps of other stuff though. There are symbols everywhere, okay? You can even think about how symbols are used in art, how symbols are used on materials and fabric and containers, and there are lots of different places where symbols are used. If you're super stuck, you can even have a go Googling it and see what simple symbols come up. Have a go trying to turn 3 symbols into its own artwork. I'm gonna go color her because I think she's turned out pretty groovy. Let me know how you go. Goodbye.